Welcome to the Josh and Paulie Show.
Starring Josh and Paulie.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Paulie. Guess what, guys? I didn't actually have anything for that. I just wanted to stop you from celebrating our introduction.
Well, anyway, today I'm drinking Lucid Absinthe again in throat coat tea again.
It did him well last time.
My throat's sore.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I'm like, if I'm going to be an alcoholic, I might as well, help myself out at the same time.
There you go. You think you got the COVID or just...
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. And now we're going to gain 1 million haters. Why would you not get tested?
Where's our mask?
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
If 1 million people listened to the podcast and hated us, I would just be like, that's crazy.
That's really cool.
That,
that 1 million people listen to the podcast. I wouldn't care if they liked us or hated us. It's like, thanks for listening.
Wow, I got a lot of fucking viewers going. We had a hater earlier today, dude. She was like, fucking with your 4 views. I was like, yeah, we don't have a ton of views. Yeah, I was like...
That's it. Now I'm about to just watch it 1,000 times.
Yeah, I was just like,
I'd be like, what'd you say about 4 views?
With your 15 reviews on Spotify. I'm like, yeah. Like, we're 20 episodes in. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Somebody else on TikTok the other day was like that, too. Joe Rogan says, don't read the comments.
Yeah.
But, I feel like in the beginning, you kind of got to read the comments. He has the privilege of being famous going into it.
Sure.
He's like, I don't even have to interact with my audience.
You think he started without reading the comments?
Yeah, mate. Well, no, he fucking started reading the comments.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, because the first episode, he was reading comments. Yeah, so fucking remember where you came from, Mr. Rogan.
Mr. Rogan. Right this way, Mr. Rogan.
Loser. That guy is so lazy.
Dude,
you know
what a
I'm
bum.
saying? Like, he doesn't do shit.
What a bum.
He just sits around and fucking talks.
That's all he
for
does.
a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet he's got a weak physique.
Yeah. I bet that guy can't even kick it good.
No, I bet not.
Yeah.
I bet he
Joe
goes
Rogan
to kick
is
something.
literally 5'3".
Is he really?
No, that's what somebody paid a fucking helicopter or a plane to fly. You know how they'll do a banner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody paid
Or they'll
him.
write it in the sky, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. It was either a banner or they wrote it in the sky, but it was like over Los Angeles or whatever. They were like, Joe Rogan is literally 5'3".
They have the word literally.
Yeah.
Wow, that's some dedication, guys.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, it takes so long to write that out with a fucking plane.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, you're like, how much per letter? And they're like, $50. And they're like, oh, it's fine. Maybe we'll take literally out, you know? It's a lot of fucking letters.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, shout out of the week goes to the Twisted Tales podcast.
Twisted Tales podcast.
Yeah.
All right, that kind of sounds fun. I've always been into the sort of unusual.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
I think a lot of our generation is that way just because of scary stories to tell in the dark. That's my theory.
Or are you afraid of the dark?
Are you afraid? You remember that one? Or Goosebumps. Goosebumps was huge.
Hey, Goosebumps was so fucking lame.
It was. It was kind of lame. I remember reading some of the books because you still got that tingly,
Yeah, I read them too late. I got locked up in juvie.
Yeah.
So I'm like 15, And
they
they're
had
like,
a million.
I'm like, is there books? And they're like, yeah, bunch of Goosebumps.
A bunch of Goosebumps.
And I'm like, okay, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while there'd be like an adult book.
Because they had a bunch of Goosebumps everywhere. They had a bunch of Anne Rice everywhere, and then they had a bunch of what? Do you remember that series where people would like transform?
Animorphs.
Animorphs.
That's so stupid.
Those were everywhere.
Jesus
On
Christ.
every shelf across America, you could find one copy of an Animorphs book, with Goosebumps somewhere.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
So what is this podcast about? Did you listen to them?
Yeah. So, fuck. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I'm not.
So anyway,
Fuck yourselves.
the Twisted Tales podcast is labeled as true crime, and they're like it's not always true crime. The episode I listened to was probably fucking 12 minutes long. He said, hey, it's a short one, guys. He said, still an episode. It was a good episode.
Yeah.
So this guy goes through, he's objectively explaining all the information that he got about it, and cracking some dry jokes.
Yeah, okay.
So at one point, so he's talking about these trees in Saskatchewan or however the fuck you say that.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're all twisty in this one grove. And then the grove is surrounded, I think, on two sides by streets. And then beyond the streets, they're not twisty anymore. And all these trees in this grove just keep growing and twisting. And so he like starts explaining why biologists thinks it happens. And then he's like, other people think it's haunted, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then like, so he goes through everything that could possibly be about this fucking grove of trees. That's pretty cool. He was like, rumor has it there's a lawyer buried there, which is fitting because it's all crooked, you know. Lawyers tend to be crooked or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
That is dry. I could see that.
Yeah. So it was good.
Was it Sacagawea?
No, Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah, Sacagawea was some Native American lady.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I kind of
so.
remember that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a place for a minute.
Yeah.
Sacagawea.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so anyway, shout out to the Twisted Trees podcast. I liked his episode. This dude's fucking cool.
Twisted Trees podcast?
Sorry, not the Twisted Trees. But the trees were twisted. Are you getting what I'm saying here?
No, I totally do.
Shout out to
I'm keeping up.
Shout out to the podcast that the Twisted Tales podcast did about the twisted trees. There we go.
All right.
So, moving on. Paulie chose the unsung heroes for the day. And so last week we were like, hey, people who flash when there's cops ahead. Now we're doing traffic again. You traffic people?
I think there are a lot of unsung heroes in traffic. Every day I come across at least one.
They never get acknowledged.
No, they never get acknowledged.
Yeah, maybe a little beep and a wave.
Right.
That's the most.
You might squeeze in a beep and a wave.
Yeah.
I did totally give somebody a thumbs up today, but when you get a thumbs up in traffic, you know it's sarcastic.
Yeah.
You know that's
Thumbs
not a
up,
positive.
buddy.
Yeah. Nobody gives positive thumbs ups anymore.
Good job, bro.
You're right. Yeah.
Where'd you learn to drive, man?
Yeah. Yeah. I forget exactly why I gave him a thumbs up, but I gave him a hardcore
fucking way up.
Like, dude, I thrusted the arm. I cocked the elbow out. I was like, I gave him
fucking cocked elbow too.
Oh,
That's
dude,
nuts.
I gave him the whole sidearm. It was a beautiful thing. But yes. So today's unsung hero is. Now let me explain this a little bit because I know you guys know what I'm talking about. But sometimes you're met in a situation in traffic where there's somebody in the right lane, which is the slow lane, which is, hit your cruise control and go at whatever speed you want. That is everybody's lane. And then the left lane on a highway, or really anywhere if you think about it. It transverses well into city limits when you think about it as well. But so left lane is the passing lane.
That's true.
Right.
Most people know that, but some people
are absolutely clueless.
no fucking clue.
So they'll kind of camp out there, even if they're going the same speed as the person in the slow lane.
Assholes.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll just chill. They're like, this is perfectly fine. This is an open road.
They'll chill right next to the other car
So
in the slow lane.
right.
You come up behind them, you're like, what the
So
fuck?
there's no way to pass either of them because this guy's okay. The guy in the right lane's doing the perfectly
doing
fine.
what he should be doing,
Right.
which is whatever fucking speed he wants to go.
Any speed you want in the right
Anyway,
lane. That
if
is
you wanna
your
go
lane,
20,
baby cakes.
fucking do it.
You're gonna
dude.
do it. Nobody's
I'm
gonna
saying?
complain.
Probably gonna get pulled over
You
if
might
we're
get
going
pulled
too
over.
slow.
A
But
cop will complain.
he'll be
but-
like, hey, that's weird.
Right.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Do you need assistance?
Yeah, are you having a heart attack or something?
Hey. Are you high on marijuana?
Yeah.
So the unsung hero is the guy that will break the speed limit, like go 10 over
Get
to
around
get
that
ahead
shit.
of the guy in the right lane.
Yeah.
So that because he can see traffic is piling up behind him.
Yeah, he's
Even
like,
if
"Oh,
he
shit,
is
I fucked
gaining
up."
by little by little on the guy in the right lane, he doesn't want to hold traffic
You
up
can't
anymore.
pass the semi going 1 mile per hour faster than the semi.
No.
It takes like half a fucking hour.
It does.
Yeah.
And then you got people behind you. You're making a mess behind you. That is really the beginning and end of why, and the only reason as to why there is ever traffic on the 17 coming up north from Phoenix, because it's always one semi that is going 1 mile per hour faster than another semi that camps out in the right.
Yeah.
When they start hitting those mountains, he's like, well, since I'm going 1 mile per hour faster,
I gotta
so-
pass this guy.
and it takes them the whole mountain range to get ahead of
Yeah,
him.
and the other guy's like, I can't fucking let up off the gas a little bit to
Because
let
if
you
I
pass,
do,
because
yeah.
I'll fucking stop going uphill.
I'll stop going.
Yeah.
So they're both just in that ridiculously snail's pace race to the top. And by the time they're done, you've got probably about a mile and a half of traffic.
6 miles.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah,
It's been
fucking
there.
Phoenix traffic. That shit's terrible. You people that live in Phoenix, you're not the same as us. Like if I, well, it's like if I go.
We're not the same.
No, we're definitely not the same at all. If I go to like any kind of group or anything, social media, they'll be like Arizona this, Arizona that. Everybody's like Phoenix, Mesa, Tucson. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like almost everybody in the state lives there.
Yeah.
I don't even know like the population of the state of Arizona versus the population of the greater fucking metropolitan area of Phoenix, but it's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it might. Well, so yes, to the unsung hero, breaking the speed limit to stop that nonsense dead in its tracks. Well done. This is to you, the last of my coffee,
Well,
which is
what the fuck? How's it not gonna give me the whatever?
internet's being
We'll never know.
stupid.
Phoenix has like fucking like 10 million people in the greater area or something. It's fucking nuts. I'm probably like way over with that.
And
estimate.
well, oh man, their population just in the past 10 years
Yeah.
explosive. I remember going through there my first time, and it was still it still had kind of small town vibes where we were, and like I know it's been a big city for a while.
Yeah.
But it still almost had these small town vibes, especially like in comparison to even just say a medium-sized city in the east. And
Yeah.
so going out there and visiting, it was like, well, this ain't all that I thought it would be. And then coming back 10 years later, it was just like it blew up. Now it's just like the power grid.
Yeah, it stretches too. It's like the advantage that Phoenix has over many other cities is that it has room to grow outward. It doesn't just have to grow upward. And it's got like almost an infinite amount of growth available as long as, you know, the city like gives them the green light to cut down all the fucking saguaro cactuses eventually.
All right, which they'll probably have to do.
Yeah, we gotta fucking keep moving.
Well,
Let's
did
keep
you hear
growing like a
this?
cancer.
Did you hear the saguaro cactuses are actually starting to kind of remove themselves?
Oh, they're like, fuck this shit.
Yeah,
I
they're like,
never
it's
wanted
too
to
hot
live in
out
the
here.
city. Oh,
They're like,
got
it's too hot out here.
Yeah, because
Well,
the asphalt makes everything hotter.
you know, I bet, yeah, that's another thing too, is you got that heat pollution that the asphalt creates. You got people pollution,
Yeah.
carbon, all that. But somebody's saguaro right in their yard, it had become a sort of crazy tourist attraction. People would come by and take pictures of it because it had gotten so huge. It had these big arms. It was
Oh,
just
yeah.
like gargantuan and thick. It was ridiculous. And then finally, the inhabitants of the home felt the whole home shake and heard a big bang and walked out, and both of its arms had fallen off into the yard.
Shit.
Like just falling apart, dude. Part of it, the reason, apart from the heat pollution and all that, was what they explained it as was just the heat and lack of humidity.
How do you pronounce the guy's name that made Jurassic Park? Is it Michael Crichton? Michael Crichton? That's how it's spelled, Michael Crichton. So
Yeah.
this guy, he wrote a book called something Fear, State of Fear, or something like that.
Okay.
So the whole thing was like, the book was about these eco-terrorists, right? It's a fictional novel, but these eco-terrorists are trying to create disasters because their propaganda isn't working good enough to get people to do what they want. And so they have some sort of agenda. It's a thinly veiled argument against, you know, the whole global or climate change. They don't call it global warming anymore.
Sure.
So the whole climate change thing, basically what Michael Christian did was a bunch of fucking research of his own on all the temperature data over the years, and notice disparities in the temperature changes. Any thermometer that's in a city or near agricultural land, which is most of the thermometers that they're reading around the planet, is way hotter than a thermometer that's placed out in the middle of the fucking forest. If you cut the trees down, everything gets way hotter. There's no more fucking shade.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like
okay.
weird, like they have their own like cooling effect to them. And then so if you got cropland, it's still hotter. And so like everything that we graze to the ground already hotter, and then we're like, okay, we're gonna burn a bunch of gasoline and have asphalt. So it's like storing all this heat, and we're fucking burning cars all day long and shit. Scottsdale will get like 130 degrees, dude. It's fucking nuts.
That's
Like, so it's
sick.
like, yeah, we're like definitely doing something to kind of warm some shit up, but it's not the whole planet for the most part. It's like 1/10 of 1 degree in 100 years or something, you know? It's ridiculous.
Right.
But then in the cities, it's like, yeah, it's risen like fucking 15, 20 degrees in some cities.
That's
So,
insane.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's what the people want.
It's what the people want. I like going back to that. So, shout out to the unsung heroes that fucking speed up and get the
Speed
fuck
up.
out of the way, dude.
Clear
Get
that
the
fucking-
fuck out of
get
the
that
way,
traffic
dude.
moving.
Or stay the fuck behind the other person in the right
or
lane.
dip behind 'em,
If
you
you
know? You
can't
don't
get
have
up
to
the
break the-
fucking hill, just dip out, dude.
Right.
You don't have to win. You're driving a semi truck for a living, bro.
Yeah.
Jesus
just slow it
Christ.
down, dip behind the other semi, put the arrow on. People will give you room for it.
Yeah,
But
for sure. But anyway, our would you rather of the day. We got two.
okay,
And
bring them on.
first one, let me read this. I like them word for word.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a 1 minute conversation with your past self or your future self? So I was thinking like, there's the paradox of time travel.
Okay.
So I was like, if I change my past self, right? Does the me that went back and talked to my past self, that me doesn't exist in the future. There's just some other version of me in the future. Maybe doesn't even remember it. Or maybe it's like butterfly effect.
Right. Right.
So like you're like it's like the diaries, you know? Except you go back and talk to your past self and then you come back to the future and you're like, holy fuck, everything's changed, but maybe for the worst.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it would be harder to make a good decision going in the past and talking yourself into doing something
Right.
than it would be to be like, hey, dude, who won that game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you'd have to like I'm not telling myself who won the Super Bowl because I don't give a fuck who won the Super Bowl. I'm not telling myself lottery numbers because I don't know what the winning lottery what numbers were on the lottery ticket I fucking played yesterday. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So I would have to be like, who won that UFC fight and how? And then if it was a good one, like they're the underdog and shit, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm a fucking millionaire, dude. I just bet all my money on that.
There you go. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm kind of going leaning your direction on that one because one, you don't want to go back and risk, especially telling yourself to avoid something that you wish maybe you didn't go through or
Yeah.
any of that. Yeah, because then you'll come back and you'll find
Totally
yourself a
different
whole
person.
different person.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to risk what those changes would be.
Yeah, you're like, if I wasn't in that one bad relationship, but it's like, did you not learn a bunch of lessons from that one?
Right.
Like, yeah, it still haunts you today. Okay, I get that. But did you not learn a bunch of lessons from that? Are you not like a completely different person because of that relationship?
Right.
And possibly, arguably, for the better, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody improves from hardship. So you'd never want to go back and prevent hardship. And I don't know what I would tell myself, past self, that he would adhere to that would benefit myself today.
Yeah.
But
You'd be like,
because it's easy to say.
in Bitcoin.
Yeah, and he'll be like, yeah.
You're like,
okay.
so what with the rest of the minute? And you're like, invest in Bitcoin.
That's
And
all.
they're like,
dude.
what's Bitcoin? And you're like, just fucking invest in it. You know?
A whole bunch, everything you got.
Yeah.
See, so you could do that, and then
Right
you come back.
now,
and,
yeah.
But then you're still facing that potential of that made you, if I would have done that, I would have never gotten into tree work. I would have never gotten into fitness. I would have, there's a lot of things I would have missed out on because I would have been filthy rich, and then I would
Yeah.
just be some spoiled guy in a mansion with no appreciation for anything he had.
Boot camp forced me into fitness. It was probably, I mean, the only real like positive effect of boot camp because I think the rest of it made me kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like you get like just screamed at by people all the time. I didn't do well in there, but with the getting screamed at all the time, I was like, I have to stand here and let these people scream at me. It's stressful. But the working out, I was like, fuck yeah, I love working out. Like this is my fucking escape from this shit. And so I'd work out even when I wasn't supposed to work out. Like I'd start doing push-ups.
Oh, hell yeah.
They'd be like, stand on line and reflect. This boot camp was for bad kids. It wasn't for. I wasn't in the military. So they'd be like, stand on the line and, at the position of attention. So you're basically standing there with your arms by your side, straight, like a fucking robot, looking straight forward. Your eyes aren't fucking moving at all. You're allowed to blink and breathe, they say. And you're like, fuck this shit. I'm going to do some push-ups. So I would just act like I, sneezed without permission or something. And they'd be like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, drill sergeant, I adjusted without permission. And they would be like, you're allowed to blink and breathe, Bartels. Get the fuck up. And I'd be like, all right.
You just got out of boredom. You just want to do.
Like our punishment was usually working out.
Yeah.
But they're like, not this guy.
That's funny.
They're like, you're not allowed. You fucking weirdo.
Like, we know you're just this type of sicko who'd enjoy it.
I got really into it, dude. I'm like, fuck, I can bust out a clip of 100 push-ups. Like, this is pretty impressive. Impressive. Like, I'm going to keep going with this. Like, over the course of 4 months of working out every day for 2 hours a day, you get pretty fucking in shape, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Even just doing calisthenics.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, so, yeah, as far as the past thing, so I'm going to quote myself. I actually wrote about this yesterday.
Jesus.
And I wrote, the blessing of loss becomes the learned ability to shed that which doesn't serve you. Because if you can survive losing something you'd rather have stayed, then certainly you're capable of conquering that which you must depart. So it's like, yeah, you learn from all that shit. So I'd say going to the future, I definitely like that idea. The plot of Back to the Future 2, kind of finding out the outcome of sports and all that sort of thing, and then just betting your way to because then you can still go through what you would. You're still working your day-to-day job while you're betting.
Exactly.
And you're still having your
and you're
everyday
experiencing
experiences.
you get to experience the entire thing.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just like you come up and you're like, oh, it's just memories of me fucking coming up, and now I'm just some fucking rich dude.
Right.
That'd be weird.
So then, yeah, you can have the experience of getting from rags to riches, and you know what it took to get there. Although it didn't take much because you cheated, but I like that idea.
So, Crick Wichert said, this is a good one. Shout out to Crick Wichert. Thanks for commenting on all our shit. We love you. I would vote for future self to get a better standing on what choices were made and who doesn't like trying to peek into the future. I see the benefit in talking to your past self as well. Sometimes a good pep talk is all we need to shape a better outcome. Heart emoji.
She's sweet.
Goddamn emojis. But so anyway, how fucking much standing on the choices that were made are you gonna get in a minute? It's a minute, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd be like, what'd you fuck up in the past 10 years?
You can
And then they're like,
you can change your
shit.
whole life within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So a minute, you know.
You just go in the future and beat yourself to death? How does that work? Like, what happens if...
And then you just wait your whole life for when you pop out of thin air.
Yeah.
Like your past self just pops out of thin air and beats you to death.
Yeah, that'd be
But
wild.
you could have a pretty good one-liner, like waiting for the
Well, yeah,
moment.
I've been ready for it.
Yeah.
Because I know it's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're, like, surrounded by family, you'd just be like, you know, you'd have the time and date all memorized.
Yeah.
And then you could just say something at, like, a family gathering. Make sure everybody in your life is together for some reason, you know. And then you pop out of nowhere. You just say something like, yeah, day that happens is the day I pop out of thin air and beat my own ass. And
Yeah.
then, boop, you know, and it just happens.
That's like that
It
movie
occurs.
Looper. You ever see that movie?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a pretty good
Like,
one.
at the end, you gotta close the loop. That was cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember really that much about the movie. I think I saw it twice too, but I
That's
just
yeah, it's one of those movies that you
yeah.
can watch and it's so
You're like, I know what it was
complicated.
about, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what happened.
You can't I cannot remember many scenes other than them
I
standing out in
remember,
the field.
yeah, and he's like there, like he pops up and he's there looking at him, and he's like,
Right.
"What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And then he just like hits him or whatever and runs away.
Right. And then I remember they're in a restaurant. That's really all
Yeah.
I remember about the movie.
That's
There's a restaurant in
mostly
the
what I
field.
remember too. Yeah, he's talking to him. He's like, "I'm
Right.
you from the future. We gotta get out of here,
Like,
man."
this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's
Hollywood's
like,
nuts.
"What the fuck?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I knew I was gonna close the loop one day, but what the fuck? And I didn't close the loop. What's gonna happen now?" It was pretty interesting. That
It
had me
was.
enthralled, and then
Yeah.
I forgot what happened after that.
Yeah. Well, so you got to watch the Back to the Future movies. And
I should. I
our
never
buddies
watched
over at
those.
the movie review, our buddy, I should say, over at the movie review
Doug, Movies
podcast,
by Doug.
Movies by Doug.
Movies by Doug. Do Back to the Future,
Dude,
homie, and then
1,
I
2,
don't
and
have
3.
to watch it then.
And then he doesn't have to watch them, and then we can start talking about Back to the Future.
Yeah, he's gonna do Fight Club soon. He said.
Oh, nice.
I
Okay.
love Fight Club, my favorite movie. So, other guys
Well,
I
what's
mentioned, they said we don't want to get into toxic or cover toxic masculinity, and I was like, that's not what the movie's about.
Right. No,
You
not
know
at
what
all.
I'm saying? That's like the very surface level bullshit. If you like skimmed over the movie and weren't into fucking like what's this movie about?
That's one of the many symptoms the movie is about.
Yeah.
There's a whole,
Yeah.
there's a sickness I think the movie's talking about.
Yeah.
But then
So living in a
that's just
fucking
one of the
cubicle
many
for your
symptoms.
entire life and being a fucking cog in the machine and feeling like, goddamn, I'm a fucking cog in the machine. Is that like toxic masculinity, or are you feeling the fucking effects of being this cog in the machine and you just want to fucking tear it all down so you can live in nature again? And I think that's what the movie is about. It's like, what do they call that? Like primitivist nihilism. The movie.
Okay.
You know, and it's like, and fucking a lot of fucking good lines in that movie.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorites.
The writer's fantastic.
Yeah, one of my favorites, and it has to be in context, obviously, and I'm not going to pull out the context, but sticking feathers up your butt does not make you a chicken. I didn't get that the first couple times I watched the movie, and then I thought about it in the context, and I was like, oh, I get what it means now. I was like,
Yeah.
that's a great one.
Yeah.
Another one he said is the things you own end up owning you.
Oh, I like that one.
And
Yeah.
so fucking true, but we've covered it on the podcast before, so.
Yeah, and well, so that's a tough one, Doug, because so many people have dove miles deep into that movie and that script.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would say, definitely do some research on some more of the popular articles so that you're not a broken record.
Just being like, oh yeah,
And
man.
come up with some
Did
original
you
concept.
notice how Edward Norton is Brad Pitt? And it's like,
the whole internet blows up. All hail Doug. Doug's a master.
Yeah. He figured it out. Shout out to Doug
hey, cool,
for Movies
Doug.
by Doug.
Yeah, for sure.
So the next would you rather is, would you rather always be sticky or always be itchy? So I've got
Ooh.
experience being sticky and itchy, right? I put roofing tar on a fucking roof and get it on my hands. I'm sticky. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's fucking gross.
I hate being sticky.
Dude, I get fucking spray foam on my hands. That shit is sticky, dude. I get pookie on my hands. It's not really that sticky, but it's weird, and then it sticks my hair to my arm, so it's kind of sticky. I don't like that shit. You know what else I don't like? Is when you're walking on a floor and it's sticky, and you got shoes on, but they go. You know?
Oh yeah,
And you're
yeah,
like,
yeah. Like you just
It goes.
Yeah. You're
And
peeling.
you're like,
You're peeling stickers off
you're
the
like,
floor
what
at
the
that point.
fuck? It feels wrong.
Yeah.
It feels intensely wrong.
It's terrible.
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck? Why is this so bad? I have shoes on. It's
you know.
gross. It's like when you walk in the back of a kitchen, like at a restaurant. I do that
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
because I'll go like bid jobs for like HVAC jobs at restaurants.
Yeah.
And like I walk in the kitchen and start like slipping around. And
Oh,
I'm like,
that's
this
awful.
is fucking gross. And I'm like, I remember the slip-proof shoes.
Yeah, that's
but
why they
I
always
don't
made you
wear
get
them
the-
anymore.
Right.
Yeah, because you'll fucking bust your noggin one day. You go in a kitchen and you try to work in there without slip-proof shoes. I'm careful. I'm like, I only had to be in here for 10 minutes.
Oh, dude, it's like bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to step out onto that lane because you're
Yeah.
gonna go down onto your
You're
butt.
gonna be in a rush to get the fucking food out one day because it's just hectic and everything, and you're gonna fucking slip. And you're
Alright.
gonna fall backwards, and you're gonna be trying to save the food because you're retarded. And then you're gonna fall back and hit your fucking head and die. You know what I'm saying? And that's what that's what the shoes are about, though. For real. So, but then there's also being itchy. And I have a lot of experience being itchy. So we look at the insulation when we go in attics, right? And sometimes
Okay.
it's yellow and sometimes it's pink.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's blow in pink and sometimes it's blow in white. So
Okay.
blow in white is the best case scenario. It's stranded fiberglass insulation. It doesn't get in your lungs as bad because it's stranded. It doesn't puff up in the air.
Okay.
And it doesn't get in your skin as bad also
Mm-hmm.
because it's stranded. So that stuff is pretty good. I never itch when I go in that. But if you go up in an attic and there is yellow insulation, you don't even necessarily have to actually touch the yellow insulation. It will get on you, and it will get in your clothes, and it
it'll
will get in your
itch.
pants. And if it gets in your hoodie is ruined. You might as well throw it in the fucking trash. That shit is
Wow.
never coming out of there.
Oh,
And so it's
man.
like, if you get the hoodie and the hoodie's itchy, then you're like, well, the hoodie's itchy then, because I can't buy a new hoodie every week.
Yeah.
And so you just put your hoodie on in the morning, and you're like, oh, the itch.
Alright.
And so the itch just stays with you.
Oh man, no
Um,
way.
And but you get used to it. It's like
Sure.
if you're fucking, your fucking toe hurts forever. You only realize it sometimes when you flex a little too much or whatever, but it's like hurting a little bit all the time,
Right.
And so, did you hear that fucking
Yeah, there's a
weird?
bit of buzzing.
Whatever.
Oh well.
I don't think it's terrible.
No.
And so like, the fucking itch from the insulation is bad, and that's what I imagined was like getting in an attic and swimming through like a whole bunch of insulation batting, yellow insulation batting.
Yeah.
And if you guys at home want to try this out, go up in your attic and don't have any clothes on or anything,
Naked.
and you just or put clothes on. Put clothes on.
Put some clothes on.
You're gonna get fucking itchy, dude.
Probably
and go up
better.
there and try to crawl. So like how you got the peak of the roof, and then it goes down, 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 down till it's super narrow, and then there's an eave on the side, like it's called bird block, and you can drill through it and pull a wire through it. Crawl all the way over to the eave and try to touch it, and then crawl back to your attic access and down, and see how itchy you get.
That sounds like a fun activity.
Yeah, if it's yellow, man, fucking itchy. And you
Hey.
can experiment. Everybody can be like, mine's pink, and it wasn't that bad.
Right.
And be like, mine's white. I'm not itchy at all, but I did have to take a shower. And then I'd be like, mine's yellow. It's been 3 days. It's a problem.
It's become a problem. Now everybody in the house
Yeah.
is itchy.
Yeah, shit was terrible. I don't think they use it anymore.
Yeah.
But what are your experiences being itchy?
Well, so I've definitely had the fiberglass, but I think I got that from a swimming pool for some.
Oh,
awful
that's
reason.
terrible. That's
Oh.
the worst kind, too, or from shingles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So man, as far as being sticky or
It gets
itchy,
embedded in your fucking hands between your fingers and
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
And you're like, oh, motherfucker.
And they're little cuts
and you're
and
itching
they
it,
itch.
and you can't scratch the fucking itch. You
Right.
scratch it, and you're like, that's comfortable while I'm scratching it. And then you stop scratching it, and you're like, this is fucking
It's even
itchy.
worse,
Next time you
yeah,
move your
yeah.
hand, yeah, it's terrible. You can't get it out of your fucking skin, and that's what I feel
awful.
like.
Yeah, I would pick sticky over itchy though,
Yeah.
because sticky you have to.
As long as
you
like,
have to interact with something else for sticky to be a problem. If
Yeah.
I sat completely still and just didn't move a muscle,
It'd be
sticky's not
cool.
a problem.
yeah.
Itching, I could sit completely still or do whatever, and you're still gonna itch, and that just no.
If
no,
this
thank you.
sticky was like roofing tar on my hands the whole time, that would be a problem because it would ruin everything I touched.
Yeah.
Like you get roofing tar on your hands, and you're like, well, I'm gonna try not to touch anything.
Oh, if you could spread the sticky, then that's a different.
Yeah, yeah. Can you spread the sticky? You can't spread the itchy. It's not that fair.
No. Yeah, I don't know. If you could spread the itchy, that's even worse.
Oh,
I'm saying sticky
yeah,
over
definitely
itchy for
sticky
sure.
over itchy if they have the same parameters for sure.
Right.
Okay,
right.
cool. All right. The other thing I wanted to talk about, our coworker at the office, Sierra. Shout out to Sierra for both the Would You Rathers. She gave us both the Would You
Hey,
Rathers.
thanks, Sierra.
So Sierra pulled a fucking dope ass move. She was like, we were lighting off firecrackers and shit at work. My fucking coworker built this cannon, And it's like we were setting it off at the fucking gun range and shit. It's like, boom!
Do you
big
guys
old
even
puffs of
work over
smoke.
there?
Well, no. So listen, this is just one time thing.
Yeah.
So big old puffs of smoke coming out of the fucking cannon and shit. It was cool, dude. And like, so we had these firecrackers left over from because we would use them to ignite the gunpowder to fucking fire the charge out of the cannon, you know.
Yeah.
And so she's like, "Oh man, I was messing with those last night. Why are you lighting them on fire though?" She's like, "Watch, you just throw them." And I'm like, "It's not a popper." And she's like, "Watch." And she grabs it. She's so fucking confident, dude.
Yeah.
So fucking confident. We're just watching her like, the fuck? And she's like, whips it at the ground and it doesn't do anything. And she's like, man, I was so confident. So shout out to Sierra for whipping the
man.
fucking firecracker at the ground.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Good on you, Sierra.
But yeah,
Way to be with the confidence on that too.
she was super fucking confident, dude. It was nuts. I told her about the whole saying she was sexually attracted to the autists that were beating her.
Yeah.
So she's like, I just like the adrenaline. Like, you get an adrenaline rush because you're, like, in a fight. They're, like, trying to hurt you and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, yeah.
That's really
all right.
Yeah, that's really messed up,
You know?
Sierra.
Yeah.
You got issues.
Yeah. So, no, whatever. We love you, Sierra. You're fine.
Right.
Yeah, you're all right.
You're all right.
You're okay. You're pretty cool.
We love you so much.
Terrible.
Awful.
So, next on my list of things to talk about is fucking nothing.
Nothing? Is that all we
Yeah.
have on the list today?
Listen, dude, let me check something out real quick.
He's gonna check something out. Hey, pass me that vape while you're up.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Actually, I don't even know if that works. Do I have to hit two buttons?
Just this one.
Just the left one?
There you go. Damn.
Okay. I don't do these pens anymore.
Really?
Because, yeah, did I tell you?
What?
When I ever first had access to a pen, and the only time I've had access to a pen, I would just sit there and hit it constant.
That's a problem.
That is a problem.
I do that with a bolt at home sometimes, dude. I'll just start hitting shit. And I'm like, just sitting there casually toking on it, like as if I was like eating a bag of fucking chips or something. But I don't snack a lot. I'm not a big snacking dude. But sometimes I get really stoned and then I'm actually hungry. And then I'll like just start devouring all the snack food in the house so I can avoid cooking a meal.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. I made like a gallon of bone broth this morning. I woke up, I was sick as fuck. Couldn't get back to sleep.
Damn.
Like I
Like
woke up at
puking, or?
no, I woke up like midnight and I was like a little nauseous, like had a headache. Like I'm like, I don't feel good, and the sore throat, the coughing, all that stupid shit.
That's how he acts when he doesn't feel. He goes, I
Yeah.
don't feel good.
I don't feel good. Yeah, that is really. I'm like, I'm like, I don't want to go to work today. I only
Yeah.
worked for 6 hours today because I was like, I feel like shit. So I went in and basically sweatpants and a fucking t-shirt. I can do that now because I don't have to crawl through attics.
Yeah.
See, attics are fucking terrible, dude.
Yeah, I've heard. I would not want to be crawling through them when it's over 80 degrees outside. That does not sound fun.
Yeah. Dude, a fucking picture of my latest jiu-jitsu competition popped up in my memories. Or my first jiu-jitsu competition where I broke my toe and
Yeah.
competed 2 days later. That was dope. I like that picture. Cool picture. I'm fucking psyched. Second jiu-jitsu competition, I was a little bit more nervous. Speaking of jiu-jitsu, one of the instructors, the Muay Thai instructor actually, at the gym wants to come on the podcast soon, so we might have him on. Old Tim.
Come
Shout out
next
to
week,
Tim.
man.
Yeah, Tim's the homie, dude. We could have Tim on here, fucking bullshit for a minute.
Come out next week or within the next month, and
Yeah.
or actually, you know what? Next week, I'm gonna try and have. We gave a quick shout out to her
fucking
today,
Crick.
but Crick
Crick.
may be on the podcast this coming week, guys.
Fuck, dude,
so,
we're gonna have a bunch of guest spots.
yeah, keep an eye out for Crick. She's
Yeah.
she's a looker.
We gotta get ready soon for all these fucking guest spots. Gotta put the third mic stand up. All that
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah. We gotta figure out how
So
that
we'll have
works.
them. We'll have them stand up, because forget getting
They
another.
just stand up and hold the microphone.
Yeah, hold the
Just
microphone.
stand right here.
And we got a balloon full of like white paint hanging up above them, and
Yeah.
we have blow dart guns. And every time they say something stupid, we get a shot apiece at the balloon above
To
their
see
head.
if we can pop it.
If we can pop it and get them soaked in wet paint.
That's pretty weird.
It is a little weird.
It's all right.
I think it'll draw attention,
It's not
viewership.
bad. Hell
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We're about to get. Well, remember when they cover those people in green slime back in
Daddy,
the day?
Nickelodeon.
Yeah, Nickelodeon.
Do you remember Amanda Bynes?
I remember later reports about her. I do not remember her as a child
You
star.
remember the Amanda
Oh, I wasn't a
show.
Nickelodeon
I seen
either.
this. I seen this meme.
Nickelodeon kid.
This meme. It was like, oh yeah, you're fucking old. I seen this meme. It was like,
Thanks.
this is everybody's first crush, and it was talking about the pink Power Ranger.
Yeah.
I'm like, first of all, the fucking yellow Power Ranger is probably more attractive than the pink Power Ranger. But
Yeah, but back in the day.
Amanda Bynes was actually my first crush as a kid. I was like, damn, that chick's hot.
Yeah.
And then, but you see her nowadays, and you're like, whoa,
Oddly enough, I think my first crush was a cartoon character.
nice.
Yeah. I
What?
couldn't.
Who?
Probably. Man.
Daphne or some shit?
No. Daphne. No. I didn't watch. I didn't
Scooby-Doo?
watch Scooby Doo either. Coming up.
You never watched Scooby Doo?
not
That's
coming up.
not. That's not because you're old.
No.
Scooby Doo is like predates you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's
No,
old.
no, yeah. I think we only ever had like basic cable. We had 5 channels growing up, and so whatever we got, that was just on the menu. Mostly ABC, I think. But first crush was probably, honestly, Betty Boop, maybe.
Really?
Yeah,
She was kind of hot.
she was a.
You know, there's a thing about drawing
She's
things.
still hot. She's probably in
You
her
know?
80s now, but
Like if you draw a nice pair of tits, you're like, that's a nice pair of tits. You know?
right, yeah.
Real easy to draw too. People used to always do it on like the cell walls in jail.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's a nice pair of tits.
Okay.
When I went through my crazy Jesus phase, I used to go in there and be like, "Can I have a bar of soap?" And the guard would be like, "Yeah." And they bring me a bar of soap, and I'd like use my rag, and I'd fucking scrub everything off the walls, and then I'd just write a bunch of fucking Bible quotes all over the walls.
No way.
Yeah, dude.
That's
I did it the
dope.
one time, and the guard came up to my cell, and like he opened my door, and he was like, "Listen," he's like, I'm a God-fearing man just like yourself, but if the warden or somebody sees this, you know, you're gonna go to the hole."
They're gonna crucify
He's
you.
like, "You gotta, clean this off the walls."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right." I'm like, "Motherfucker, they wouldn't know who did it if
Yeah.
you didn't tell them."
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it just happens to be that all the walls got scrubbed fucking clean as fuck, and then it's nothing but Bible quotes on the wall. I'd be like, "No, man, wasn't me."
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
I think that dude would have left it alone.
Yeah.
But he was probably also looking out for your best interest.
Yeah,
He knows what his
probably.
intentions
He's like,
were, but-
eventually something bad's gonna happen. I think he was fine.
Yeah.
He wasn't being mean to me about it.
Oh,
He was just
yeah.
like, probably you should scrub that off the wall. And I was like, all right.
That's pretty gangster, though.
Yeah, so I
Some
scrubbed
Bible
everything
verses
that
up
could
on
be
the wall.
seen. Well, yeah, and then it wasn't all Bible verses. I'd put like some System of a Down quotes, and like I had some of my own lyrics that I'd write on the wall, like the money after which you lust insults the God you claim to trust, shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, the Bible can sound pretty gangster at times.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Well,
there's
I-
some dope ass quotes in there.
I've taken to just putting up quotes without context on social media, and I'll
That's
get
the
a lot
best.
more engagement that way.
Yeah,
And
and you
people-
don't tell them where it's from. You
No.
don't tell them like Philippians 13. I feel like that always deadens it.
Yeah,
They're
well,
like,
yeah.
"Fuck
When
the fuck ever,
it's
dude."
funny, dude, with Scripture, the way it's read and the truth in it, people really respond to that stuff.
Yeah.
So when you don't put the reference there, and they don't think that they're reading out of the Bible,
Yeah.
they're really impressed by
If
it.
they are religious, they'll automatically be impressed by it, even if you add the tag. But
Right.
if they aren't, they will be like, "What the fuck ever?" If
Yeah.
you add all that shit.
Yeah.
It's
They're
like,
just gonna be like,
they
they'll
automatically
see
know
that
it's yeah,
first before even the
first,
text,
before they
and then they'll
interpret
just
what they
scroll
read.
right. Yeah, exactly. So you want to just post the words, and people will get the message. And I've had people respond very positively toward anything that I haven't referenced that's come from scripture. Because and then there are some that I post just because they sound gangster. Like for instance, like "Oh Hades, where is thy sting? Oh death, where is thy victory?" Or "Oh
Is
death,
that
where
the
is thy
Bible?
sting? Oh Hades, where is thy victory?"
Fucking nice.
That is straight out of the old OT. That's
Hades
the
is
OT.
the old Greek god of the underworld, right?
Hades.
Or
I thought Hades was just hell. Well, you know what? It was capitalized, so you might be right.
I feel like there were some in the Old Testament. There were some shout outs to the older religions,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's cool. And like there was a couple references. There's so many like
Oh yeah, they
even
reference gods. They always give it the lowercase g, but they
yeah
reference yeah.
yeah different gods, and then there's so many different names for Satan.
Hmm.
There's a lot of names for Satan in the Bible. I forget how many, but it's like more than 20.
Well, so I guess I kind of always knew this, but I guess the spirit of Jezebel is like the sexual immorality.
Jezebel's, yeah.
Is this
The Jezebels were always fucking promiscuous women. Um,
were you gonna say hoe bags or
yeah,
something? Why were
something.
you
I was like,
hesitant?
they're gonna think I'm a misogynist, and I'm gonna get labeled like
Those
this
Jezebels are
guy's
always
just like
dirty
Andrew Tate
whores.
or something. Yeah, but no, normally they're like very promiscuous.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so yeah, like the spirit of Jezebel was apparently what was going in and would make women, and for that sense, you know, there are obviously in our culture both men and women who are we shall just for the sake of spiritual talk say plagued with the issue of
Dude, why does your fucking microphone keep
I don't
doing
know,
that?
it's
It's like,
being
hold on,
being
spin
an
it around real
asshole.
quick. Like, honestly, I'll start talking. So, what Polly's doing, if you're not watching the podcast right now, is that he's trying to figure out, are you fucking unwinding it or are you winding it?
I don't know how this works.
I don't,
Oh,
it
here we go.
should,
Here we
yeah,
go.
it should eventually tight. Yeah, I was like, fucking righty tighty, lefty loosey, except it's the opposite way on this.
There we go. That's perfect.
Sweet.
That's perfect.
So, continue your thought.
So, yeah, both men and women are, and I was going to say to keep on the spiritual front, plagued with promiscuity. With you know, if people have issue with
Yeah.
like watching porn every day
Yeah.
or any of that, it's like apparently that's the spirit of Jezebel, the sort of Satan's approach using the spirit of Jezebel and all that, which
Yep.
I really don't understand. I can't back that up with any scriptural references, and it's not something I know for certain, but it's interesting, and I want to like kind of explore that subject.
Yeah, it's like I feel like what they did was they gave names to all the different mental illnesses, essentially, and it's what we know as
Right.
mental illness today. And some of it is, so like I don't think that everything that happens to everybody is because um, it was their thing. You know, I feel like okay. Also, let's do the fucking egg theory, dude. So, the egg theory was brought up on that fucking off-topic
Yeah.
episode with Jenna, and so they were talking. It was like, okay, so you are everybody on the planet, and because you are an evolving consciousness, and this consciousness is all evolving together, and it's
Right.
evolving. You know, and it's like so. If you look in the Bible, it's like God like transcends time and space. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
It doesn't say that exactly, but it seems to suggest that God is outside of all of that, is the creator of all of that time and space and all of that.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so it's like this consciousness, when it's not inhabiting the physical realm, may be transcending time and space, and it's like it's separating the wheat from the chaff because it's experiencing every way that it can experience existence. You know,
All right.
being the rabbit that got devoured and being the coyote that devoured the rabbit at
Yeah.
the same time.
Right.
You know, and so like in that way, things are kind of karmic because there's a balance. You know, the rabbit got ate and the coyote ate it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and then later on, something happens to the coyote. Maybe the cholla cactus gets stuck. Have you heard of the fucking jumping cholla cactus?
Now I've heard of jumping cacti where they basically, without you even touching them, can
Yeah.
sort of spring out
Teddy
there.
bear cholla.
Yeah,
So
okay.
teddy bear cholla, I used to landscape and plant cactuses, so I look kind of a cactus nerd, but not like really. So teddy bear cholla, if you step on the ground by it, its root system is so close to the surface of the ground, and I think partially because it's like it's hard to fucking dig down anyway. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
If you step on the ground too near the cactus, it'll disturb the root system, and a piece of the cactus will fling off and get stuck in you. And that
That's
shit
wild.
fucking gets stuck in you bad.
Yeah.
It's like you need tongs to pull the shit out, and you need
Oh.
tweezers to pull the needles out. Like the shit is gonna flop up and get stuck in you, dude. No matter what you do to try and pick it up, you need to use tools to pick it up.
That's
So it's
awful.
like it'll like a coyote will be walking by, do, and step on that fucking root system. It'll fling a piece of cholla cactus into it. That coyote will be like, oh, fuck, I got stuck with some cactus. Eventually, it'll start trying to gnaw on it. Then it'll get its mouth stuck on the cactus, and then it'll starve to death, and then it'll be fertilizer for the cholla cactus. That's fucking beautiful.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
insane. Huh. Man, you
And it
know, nature's
traveled.
absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man. So I'll give you a little piece of information of something I've learned in the last week about nature, about how that's things can travel.
Yeah.
Now I've actually even written on this topic, but I learned just in this past week something miraculous. Yeah, is about the presence and potential for generational trauma in anything.
Yeah.
Anything just passed along generational, especially neurologically. Most especially neurologically. So they've been doing these studies. They did one on mice and one on these worms. And on the mice, I forget exactly what the scent was, but we'll just say lavender for the sake of conversation. They would give these mice an electric magnetic kind of shock to their system and at the same time deliver this fragrance of lavender into their environment. And then they let the mouse breed. And they, put the offspring into a controlled environment and they would monitor them. And they would spray lavender into their environment. And the monitors would show increased anxiety, all of this stuff, while they had never themselves received the electric shock. Just from that smell, from lavender, and then they had other studies of the same gene, same group of mice, same litter of mice, all different studies with different smells, and all of them didn't react except that lavender gave them kind of a panic. It gave them a huge reaction.
Yeah.
And that lasted for, I don't remember exactly what they said, but something
Several
like 3 or 4 generations.
Yeah.
For however long the study's been being conducted. Who knows how long it will last.
Dude, so I was having this fucking argument. And it wasn't really an argument. It was more of a debate. This dude's cool. He's from my school. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if he wants me talking about him. But so basically we were talking about, I was trying to talk about say the creation of life and why things want to survive.
Yeah.
Why things always want to survive. And he had brought up a good point that so maybe, trillions of single-celled organisms are being created and they just happen to survive. And then eventually things want to survive.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think things wanted to survive from the beginning. But that really, I never really thought about the, everything that didn't, that wasn't trying to survive DNA-wise died off.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to deform all weird, you make a bad move in your evolution, you're going to die off.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've made that point before with the human race. I think the human race, biologically and neurologically, is starting to destroy itself.
I think we started fucking too much.
This is either by influence, outside influence, or it's just the natural, which I guess if it's an outside influence, it is also then the natural course for the human species is to thrive and die.
Yeah. I think if you do too good, you spread and you take over the host. And for us, the host is the planet.
Yeah.
You know, for a virus, if it does too good, if it's a super strong virus, we can't even kill with antibiotics or anything, and it spreads and it takes over the fucking host because it's got it easy. It's going good for it. And we like pretty much got it easy now. Like I'm just fucking hanging out in this room. I don't even leave the house all that much. I'm like, dude, I don't even have to leave, dude. I put air conditioning on my house. This shit is pretty nice. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And that's what I was trying to get to on the last episode with the whole we just be eating fruit and making art. Like out in the fucking heat, dude, all day, every
Yeah.
day. You're just gonna do that? That's like okay. You know what I'm saying? No, you live in a fucking house, dude. You got a fucking roof when it rains and shit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm sure you
Yeah.
build some fucking thatch roof and shit. But you ever watch that show Alone? Like,
Uh,
I talked about Alone on the show before, but it's like, um, that shit sucks. But they do kind of like they'll be like, we're gonna drop you off kind of right before it's turning into winter, and only give you a couple weeks to like get established, you know.
right.
And then it's gonna suck dick,
Yeah.
and there's
Well,
nothing to eat there, basically.
so I realized one of the amenities I'd miss about actually renting, because I've given thought to best way to save money would be to live comfortably, like out of my car
Yeah,
or out of a recreational vehicle of some sort if I was able to obtain one.
yeah. But you have a
Um,
fucking car, dude.
right, right. Well, so the thing is, the only thing that I would really miss is constant access to running water because dishes get dirty, and the Verde River is not a place where you want to be washing your fucking
Dude, that is
dirty
the
dishes.
that's the biggest thing when I went camping. We actually took dishes and food.
Clean
Because
water, man.
normally when I go, I'm like, I'll just take beef jerky and trail mix. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I will live.
yeah.
Beef jerky, trail mix, and water.
All day.
Yeah. But some people are like, we gotta cook. And then you're
Yeah.
like, fuck. We gotta wash our dishes in the river. That's what we had to do the one time because we didn't take enough water to wash our dishes with.
All right. Yeah, you need that gray water.
Yeah,
Import.
for sure. So that was gross. And I was like, it doesn't get warm. So even if you take soap, like, you got some grease on the plate, you're like, ew. It's like you gotta heat water and then pour the heated water on the dish. And it's dirty water, but at least you boiled it, you know? But it's like dirty water.
Yeah. Oh, so lastly, let me tell you about this other study, the
Yeah.
one done with the worms. So they decided worms live a much quicker life than mice. So they conducted a study with these worms. And these worms specifically, I couldn't tell you their species or genes or whatever. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me as well. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what they were called, but they took them out of where they were accustomed, this wet, dark climate,
Uh-huh.
and they put them in the sun. And they realized after being in the sun for however long,
So they're like, this sucks.
they started glowing at night. Their bodies would start, they would become
Glowworms.
glowworms basically.
Oh, shit,
And so
son.
then they kept him in the sun for a year and they took him back. And I mean, this since they are generational very much rapidly than most other living beings. They took him back to their original habitat and
Environment.
environment,
Yeah,
and they had
more
offspring.
synonyms.
Yeah, right. All the words that mean the same thing. Took him back there, and so for however many generations, I don't remember the final count, but I do remember what they did with this study. But for however many generations, these worms glowed, and so it lasted a while.
That's dope.
So they did it again, but they did it for longer with the second group, and they left the worms there for 5 years in the sun.
That's wild.
And then they took those offspring and they took them back and that lasted for 17 generations. So not only are we products of,
Right, you like reinforce it after so many times.
So yeah, you can date potentially from that study if you were to equate that to human years, and you could we could be holding on to reactions to things our ancestors had to fight or combat from the 1600s on
Right.
up. Like,
From
and we
back
could.
before like guns
This is why Yeah, yeah.
were yeah,
This
like
the,
when they were just figuring out the old black powder,
this is
you know.
why Peterson was always talking about we're not transparent to ourselves, like really at all.
Yeah.
A lot of our behaviors are constructed through these generational patterns, through these generational experiences, so that we're actually just the product of a distant relative's decisions. And so it's like that's the reason for people believing, I think, in religion, or at least maybe what I've gotten from my experience with
Yeah.
diving in.
You inherit the sins of your father.
Right.
You really do. And that's the generational trauma. That's the whole thing. It's like we're switching up the language and like the new religion is but it's like the same, it's like saying the same
It's
thing.
saying, yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah. I think that's why a lot of people are awakening to it as well. And I think we are in a time where many people of our generation are combating traumas that nobody in their family history. And it might just be the atmosphere. It's kind of like that study they conducted with. Do you know anything about this one? We might have to come back to this, but a group of apes in a tribe, I think it was, and once,
Is it the 100 monkey thing?
yeah,
Yeah. So
once
the
a certain
100th ape or
number
whatever. So once 100 apes learned, then all 1,000 apes learned or whatever. I don't know the
throughout
exact
the
numbers,
world,
but
right?
it was 100 apes to start. And so like they taught them how to do something with a certain tool, and they only taught it to I think one or three monkeys.
Yeah.
Can't remember which, but it's a very small number of monkeys. Maybe they taught it to one, and then there was three, and then there was five, and then there was six, and then there was eight, and then there was 15, and then
Yeah.
there was 100, and then there was all of them almost
Then
immediately.
yeah, like
Yeah,
instantaneously after 100.
yeah,
And so I mean, why grass grows that way too. You don't look at one blade of grass and think that's a fantastic lawn. If you
yeah.
just got one single green,
The
beautiful, luscious
yeah,
blade of
those that
grass
have will receive more, and those that have not, everything will be taken from
taken
them.
from,
Yeah,
yeah, dude. So like, it's all just, I think, beginning to make sense in just such a unique way, and I think
yeah,
the way it was intended. And
yeah.
not to say that everybody's had a complete mishandling of scripture, and not to say that we're any more wise than past generations.
Exactly. And it's like things relate to you. And it's like me saying these Bible verses might not fucking mean anything to you at the moment, you know? Like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? But, like, maybe you can't relate to it. But the moment you can relate to it, it's like, damn, that's a gangster way to say it.
Right,
Well, somebody
yeah.
already said it, like fucking 2,000 years ago or whatever.
Right.
Or longer ago.
Well, that's what's so funny, dude. I mean, you read all these quotes today, and I usually do this. I'll be scrolling through any type of social media, and a quote will come up from some sort of prominent member of society or past living celebrity, where they say something like this really great little pearl of knowledge, this really just profound concept of life that will just give you kind of more peace. Just good advice.
Yeah.
And you could string it straight back to scripture. And that might be the case for a lot of religions, but scripture can encompass just about every quote written today.
Yeah.
And and that's kind of just wild to think about in its own right,
Yeah.
because like anything anybody could hope to say.
Well, like macaroni in the pot. That's that wet ass pussy.
Yeah. So check out
So what's the
Ezekiel.
Bible?
No,
That's quick, dude.
yeah, well, hey. I'm learned.
Did you ever see that movie James and the Giant Peach? I was because you
Oh,
were
I
talking about
love
the
that movie.
glowworms, and I
Yeah.
immediately thought about James and the Giant Peach. Shout out to whoever the fuck made that movie. That movie is dope as fuck.
James and yeah.
Who
What
made
was that?
that
Tim
shit?
Burton?
Maybe
I don't know. Yeah.
it was
It
good.
seems very Tim Burton-esque, but
Yeah.
it was that claymation. It was weird.
It was
It was
fucking
twisted.
good.
It was lovely.
I love that movie when I
Yeah.
was a kid, dude. The fucking visuals, however they did it with the claymation and the visuals, like the
Yes.
backgrounds and shit, it was fucking dope.
Yeah.
Well done
That
movie.
was after Nightmare Before Christmas, but it was like that same sort of animation, but just done with better
Dude, it was
lighting,
so
and it
good.
was just advanced because
Yeah.
it had the benefit of having years on it. But yeah, so good. I remember
Entertaining.
being so mesmerized
Dude,
by
if
that
it's not
movie.
Tim Burton, we're gonna be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on.
And then if it wasn't Tim Burton, like what happened to this filmmaker? Are they still making things? You know, it could have been a whole different filmmaker. And one is kind of on the tip of my tongue, but they're
Who made James and the Giant Peach?
it could be I'm thinking Tim Burton.
Tim Burton and Denise Denovi,
Denovi. Who's this Denise Denovi?
starring Paul Terry as James.
Ah.
Whew. Man, that was a good fucking movie.
That was a fun quick trip down nostalgia lane.
Yeah. Well, you were like glowworms, and like immediately I thought of the dude with like these worms. James, you have to keep them safe or whatever, you know. And he's like, oh fuck, and they all get away, and then one goes in the peach and. Listen, we're not a movie review podcast.
No,
so,
don't even start thinking we are
yeah.
too, because
But we'll mention movies a lot, probably.
we'll block you, even if you're one of our 4 viewers.
We're not. Yeah, we're not reviewing James. That was our review of James and the
Jason-
Giant Peach.
I remember that.
Yeah. Hey, did you see this one?
Well, hey guys, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for watching. We love you so much.
Oh my God, we love
Oh yeah. So, oh God, fuck yeah. Check us out on Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, maybe a little bit of YouTube.
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little.
We got clips always coming up on. Oh, you already said Facebook.
All those places, motherfucking clips.
We put full episodes on Spot. Oh, you already said Spotify.
Like, share, and comment our shit.